Hey, y'all. You are listening to Definitely Not For Everyone with your girl, Nicolette. My co-host is David today, not Diana. But we are here today with Tonia from Ranco Beauty. Tonia, I just wanted to say thank you so much for saying yes. Thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. I truly, truly, truly appreciate it. When my assistant was like, she said yes, I was like, no, she didn't. No, she didn't. She didn't say yes. Why are you lying to me? She was like, Nicolette, she said yes. I was like, yes. So
of course.
thank you. So please say hello to the listeners.
Hello, everyone.
Hello out there.
So the two reasons why I have you here is mainly to say thank you. Number one. And so the pandemic happened and all the things that went along with the pandemic happened. That's when I started watching TikTok. Mm-hmm. I came across your page and I was hooked. I really was. Your husband, he's so amazing. You are so beautiful. You do all the things that I want to do now at my age. And I just think you're amazing. And I just wanted to say thank you for all the things that you do, YouTube, TikTok, all of it. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for that.
My life easier and happier. Don't you agree?
I agree.
And the second reason why I have you here is because I wanted to, everything that I watched on TikTok made me more curious about who you were and why you do the things you do, right? Because you do share so much on TikTok, but I don't know, we don't get to hear like it's only, how many seconds is it that you're able to be on? Like a minute, right? So we don't get to hear all the like nitty gritty of like who you are and why you are the way you are and all that stuff. So I'm really excited that you are here with us. Usually how I like to begin all our episodes is by starting off with defining yourself, if you feel comfortable with that. And if not that, then maybe just how you're feeling today or something really kind of like quirky and fun about you. So David and I'll start.
Okay.
And then you could kind of like think on it.
Awesome.
You go. I haven't done this in a while. So,
I'm half Japanese, half Black. I was born in Guyana. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. I rep Brooklyn really, really hard because Brooklyn people rep Brooklyn really hard for some reason. I have two girls. I have a husband. My mom lives with us. It's a lot. I'm a massage therapist. And how I'm feeling today? Nervous and excited. I'm nervous because you're here. I usually am a lot smoother than this. And I guess a quirky thing about me, I like to curse a lot. I mean,
we could definitely be friends.
Okay. My favorite words are bitch in all of the ranges of the word bitch, and that hard-hitting word fuck. I love those two words the best.
Yeah, those are probably my two favorite words too.
My turn. I'm David. I'm Nicolette's husband, supportive husband. I'm happy to be home. I've been working not out of the state, but 5 hours away from home with the family. So I'm happy to be here right now and partake in this conversation here with my wife. And
look at you, got all the words. Nice.
I had a nap today, which was nice. I feel like I can talk a little bit. But yes, I'm just happy to be here and be part of this conversation. That's it. Supporting my wife.
What about you, Tonia?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for all those amazing compliments. I definitely appreciate that. I am born and raised in Dallas, Texas. I live in Austin, Texas now. I moved here in 93. With a previous ex-husband. And when we got divorced, I had just already made a life here. So I just decided to stay. I'm from a huge family. I have 4 brothers and 4 sisters. Um, and we all like each other, which is like really very strange because grew up fighting. So it's kind of my sister. I was talking to her this past weekend, and she says, "Isn't it weird that we all like still talk and like each other?" I was like, "Yeah, I can't believe it." Um,
Is she the one
I
is she the
huh?
one that is she the one that works for the person with a lot of Emmys and
Yes, yes. Yeah,
okay.
that's her. That's her. Yeah, she's funny, amazing, and I'm super close to two of my sisters, and she's one of them. Yeah, so she's awesome. My husband and I have been married for 5 years now, and it's our second marriage, but for both of us. I have a daughter from my previous marriage, and she is 22, and she lives in Denton, Texas.
Okay.
And he has 3 kids. He has a son and then two daughters. He has a son that's a biological son, and then he and his wife at the time adopted
Mhm.
two little black girls. So it's funny when people see us together, they think the 2 black girls are ours. And, and I have to say, no, I'm the stepmom.
Wow.
So, 2 of them are in college, and one of them is 16. She's a junior, and she lives with us full time.
Aw.
Um, let's see. And yeah, and other than that, my jobs keep me very busy. I work full time for a tech company. I've
Oh,
been with them for about 21 years.
that's
And I've been doing the influencer thing for about 5, 6 years, maybe. And then I've been jazzercising for about 25 years.
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So
So I'm very loyal, as you can tell.
straight into the questions would be what was your childhood like? So 8 siblings basically, right? 4 and 4.
My childhood was very, very strict. I grew up with 2 parents who were very, very heavily involved in the church. So most of the time when we got out, we went to church. And we had to ask permission to even go. I remember to go to my grandmother's house.
Wow.
And we couldn't. I had friends that would spend the night at other friends' houses, and nope, that was not the case with us. We were not spending the night at nobody's house. We were lucky if we got to spend the night at my grandmother's house. Like that was like a treat. And I was fortunate enough to grow up with my great grandmother. She passed when I was an adult, actually. So I had her in my life a long time. So we would either spend the night at her place or at my grandmother's house. My mom was very strict. I didn't wear makeup in school
Mm-hmm.
because people, they think since I do makeup now that I grew
Yeah,
up doing it or learning it from my mom.
right.
But no, no, I just always admired it. I remember I would go out, if I was out at the grocery store with my mom and I'd see people with makeup, I'd be like, oh my God, I can't wait till I can wear makeup. I can't wait. So I pretty much taught myself how to do makeup when I graduated high school. I
Oh,
was not allowed to wear makeup in school.
oh my
I was not even allowed to wear pants until I became a sophomore in high school.
Wow.
Because pants were considered like in the church, it was considered like a male thing. And women were supposed to like wear dresses and skirts and stuff. And I think my mom eased off of it by the time I was either a freshman or a sophomore in high school. And I remember the first time I wore jeans to school, everybody was like, oh my God, she's wearing jeans. Did you hear? And I would go to the next class and they'd be like, oh my God, we couldn't wait to see you.
so funny. So what number are you on that line
I
of
have I have an older sister who's a stepsister. So my mom, but we grew up with her. My mom
mhm.
actually had 4 girls and 4 boys. So I have an older brother, and then it's me. So
Ah,
I'm the second in line. So I'm definitely, I'm the oldest girl for sure, and I have an older brother.
oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, so they're all little. Yeah, the youngest one, my brother Michael is going to turn. I just saw him this past weekend, and so we always like just still think of him as like the baby, and he's actually going to turn like 40 this year. He's going to turn 40 this year. I was like, wait, what? I used to babysit him. My mom used to keep me out of school to help with him. Like if she had to take one of the other kids to a doctor or something like that, I would babysit him.
Mm.
Yeah.
So when did you see your life kind of change from that to maybe what it is now? Or did it change dramatically, or have you stayed very religious? Like,
I have not stayed very religious. I would say I've stayed very spiritual.
right. Yeah.
I became more spiritual than religious.
Hmm.
I used to be in a inspirational choir in Dallas. Very like heavy. It was a very successful choir. We sang everywhere. I got to meet Stevie Wonder.
Wow. So you
Like
stayed
they just, it was
now?
a pretty popular. It was a really popular choir, and I sang with them and it was a lot of fun. And then when I moved here, I just kind of got away from that a little bit and never really found like a church that I was comfortable in.
Mhm.
So I've pretty much stayed spiritual more than I would say like religious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the same. I feel the same way.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
so
And my husband's the same way. We're both the same. We're both not religious, but we're both like we try to stay, very spiritual. So that was good. I'm glad I got somebody who was on
yeah.
that same page with me.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. What are you? Like an atheist?
She said, "What are you?"
Yeah.
He believes in God, right?
Whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Right.
I like to
Yeah.
debate, so I don't.
I think there's different levels of being spiritual, right? Like
Right.
you can
Definitely.
still believe in God, but you don't, maybe you meditate. Some people take meditation as a form of being spiritual, right? To
True.
me, I just feel like it's like knowing that there's a higher power than you that can help and control things. So everybody like that's different for everybody.
Yeah, very true.
See.
Okay. Um so then
She's finding out a lot
um
about you today, huh?
yeah, thank you,
So
Tanya.
good.
Because sometimes he changes his mind, which he's allowed to do because we
That's
are
true.
human
Yeah.
beings. So every day is something different, right? So I gotta ask, like, where you at today?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so the jazzercise, that was how many? Was it jazzercise?
yeah,
Right? Yeah,
jazzercise.
jazzercise. How many years ago was
I
that?
I've been teaching that for
25.
I've been teaching for 25 years. When I moved here in 93, I was fortunate enough to be able to hold off for looking for a job for like a year.
Mhm.
And I was just bored. So I was like, I have got to like work out. I don't really want to do the gym. I hate the gym. I did
Yeah.
it in Dallas and I hated it. It was like forcing me to do it. And so I found at this time there was the phone book and there was a yellow pages. I'm sure young people listening to this are like, what is that? um, and there was a coupon for a free jazzercise class and it happened to be around the corner for me. I went and I was hooked. I took it for about a year. The instructor came up to me and said, you should be an instructor. Have you ever thought about it? And I was like, no. I was like, I was just like, nobody's ever picked me for anything. What? And yeah, so from there, I just like did the certification and went through with it, and it's been awesome ever since.
Wow. And then
Yeah, I
from
run
there,
into people who took my class when I was pregnant because I taught when I was pregnant as well. Yeah, I run into people even today when we're out, and they're like, "Oh my God, I took your class when you were pregnant. How's your baby?" And I'm like, "She's 22. She's great. Thank you for asking."
20 years ago. Yeah. That's
wow.
awesome.
And then when did Ranko Beauty come into play? Was that
So that came into play when my husband and I were together. I guess maybe we had been together maybe a year, and he is like my biggest fan. It's just constantly like tells people how beautiful he thinks I am, which that's great. You should your husband should think you're beautiful. That's awesome. But I never grew up hearing compliments. And if I did hear a compliment, it was like, "Oh, she's pretty for a black girl. She's real cute for a black girl." Like, right? Those are the compliments I was used to hearing. I didn't get like praise like in my house. Like, of course, if I had 8 kids, I probably wouldn't be praising nobody either. But I
right?
mean, I'm not faulting my mom for that. But it's like now, with our kids, we're like, "Oh, you're so smart. You're so pretty." Like we know they need those affirmations now, And so I never got those. So in my house, they would always tease you for what was wrong with you. Like I was always told, my eyes are too big, my lips are too big, I'm too this, I'm too this. So that's what I was used to hearing. And
Mhm.
you get, you're surprised, because that gets embedded in your head.
Yeah.
So with my husband, he was always when we were dating, he would always like send me text, or whatever. And oh my gosh, you're so pretty. And one text he sent me when we first started dating, he says, I know I'm getting used to you now because now I can focus on the words that you're saying when we talk to each other face to face.
Oh, he got lines.
So
You need to
sweet.
take
Yeah.
classes.
Oh,
He
yeah.
needs to take classes.
Yeah,
So
right.
yeah, so he would just see me just getting ready when we would go out on dates, and and how I would do my makeup and how I would study other people's tutorials and stuff. And he was like, have you ever thought about doing that? He was like, I think you'd be really good. I think people would really like to see you. And I'm just like, people aren't going to want to see me. That's stupid. He would, and it took a little bit convincing. And I remember like I put my first video out there and people were like, oh my God, we love this. Where are you going to be? Where can we follow you? And so the Ranko beauty part just kind of started from there. And then
Wow.
TikTok was incorporated during quarantine.
Yeah.
I was just, bored and looking for an outlet like everybody else. I was basically looking for something different than just doing my normal like skincare routines or makeup
Right.
routine. So I started out actually just kind of learning a few of the dances. And my stepdaughter was like, you got 200 views on that? And I was like, yeah, I know it's not a lot. And she was like, that's a lot. She goes, you only have 20 followers. And so anyway, so she was just kind of boosting my confidence too. And then it just kind of spiraled from there when Rob, my husband, started joining my TikToks, and the one of the first TikToks he was in went viral. So I went and so I thought, maybe I should put him in more of my TikToks.
I saw the one where Beyonce's mom had
That
mentioned
was
him
on his page, yeah.
on
So,
his page.
he started his TikTok probably about, 3 months after I did, and he has way more followers than me, by the way. I always tell people that, people, if they think they like me, they will definitely love him. Like, people love him way more than they love me. Um, he's so super funny, and he's just a natural. We love doing the TikToks together. And on his page, he does more political stuff because he's very involved, like with politics and things like that. And he's very vocal about that.
Mhm.
I'm not, when people come to my page and they talk about that, I'm like, yeah, you're following the wrong page. I was like, let me
Right.
direct you to his page
Right.
because we don't do that over here. I was like, we laugh and we have a good time on this page.
So how did you guys meet?
We met online, strangely enough. Yes. I had been divorced a long time because I got divorced when my daughter was like probably 2. So she was used to, us being apart.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was used to the dating scene. And the only reason I started doing the online dating was because that was really the only place for me to meet people.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't really meet people like where I worked, and I didn't really want to date people where I worked anyway. Um, and when I went out with girlfriends, I'm in Austin, so when I went out with girlfriends, guys wouldn't come up to you. Like they just wouldn't. They just would not. I'm sure it's because they just don't want to get let down. I've talked to my brothers about it, and they're like, "Yeah, we're not going to go up to you if you with 3 or 4 of your girls." No, he's like, "That's not going to happen,
Right.
right?" And so my brothers were always like, "You're gonna have to go out by yourself sometime." I was like, "I'm not going out by myself and sitting at a bar." So I started doing online dating, which worked out great. I met some really nice guys, but it was nothing that turned into long term.
Mm-hmm.
And I had ended a really bad relationship. And so I didn't date for like a year
Mm-hmm.
because that relationship was so bad and toxic. And
Mm-hmm.
my daughter at the time, I believe she was in high school, she said, why don't you do the dating sites? And I was like, I've done that, been there, done that. And she goes, do the one that daddy did, because her dad has been in a relationship for a long time and a really healthy one. We love her. And I said, well, what dating site did he do? And so she's texted him as we're in the car, and she said, Plenty of Fish. And I had done Plenty of Fish before. It's a free dating site for people who don't know what that is.
Right.
I had done that before, but I had found that it was more like a hookup site. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with hookups. I
Yeah.
mean, if that's your lifestyle, that's what you want to do. Some people don't want to be in a relationship. I'm not here to promote that. You do what works for you.
Yeah.
But I was at the stage in my life where I wasn't looking for like hookup sites.
Yeah.
So I told my daughter that, and she said, well, his girlfriend is not a hookup girl. And I was like, oh, I know she's not. I was like, I'm not saying that. And she goes, well, I'm just saying that obviously everybody on there is not looking for a hookup. She goes, you need to try it. So I told her, I'm going to try it for 2 weeks. I said, if I don't meet anybody, I said, I'm getting off that site. She goes, okay, let's start there. Right. So before I went on that site, I did something different. I actually made a list of things that I wanted in a guy and things I didn't want. I'd never done that before. Made a list and I prayed over that list. So that's when I say I'm spiritual, that's the spiritual part of me. So I prayed over that list and I was very, very picky with that list, super picky, like down to like, I want them to open my door. I want them to shower me with gifts and actually want to, that kind of stuff. And I met Rob my last day for being on that site. So I was actually going to get off that site that day. That's when I met him.
Wow.
And what's so funny is I've never dated guys that with kids because that was a no-no for me.
Right.
I didn't want to date anybody with children. I didn't want to deal with no baby mama drama. Nobody. I don't want to raise nobody else's kids. I was like, no. But strangely enough, I went back and looked at my list. That was not on my list. I guess because I just kind of thought it was like breathing that, like I didn't put breathing on the list. So it was just like, to me, it was just so normal. You know what I mean? So I didn't put that on the list. And we met for a coffee date. I almost stood him up because his girls at the time were like really young. They were 8 and 10 at the time. And before I met him for coffee, he was sending me text messages of him with his girls and him being silly, like you do with your kids. And this is going to sound awful, but I thought, oh my God, he's an involved dad too. Oh, gross. Oh my God, gross. He actually wants to hang around with his kids. Like, I was just like, I know that sounds awful.
No.
I know that sounds awful, but I'm thinking he was like, in my mind, maybe he's a part-time dad, he's sitting now and then, right? He don't even really like them that much, right? And that's awful because who would want to be with a guy that doesn't like their kids, right? Like, who would want that? But I swear to you, in my head, this is my thinking. And so I almost stood him up. I didn't because he's such a nice guy. He just kept sending me texts. I got here early, let me know if you're having any problems finding it. I can't wait to see you. And so I thought, oh man, that's going to be shitty if I stand him up. I was like, well, let me just at least turn him down face to face, So we get there and the conversation just flowed so easy. And we ended up having, a real date like the next day, which was awesome. It was the best date ever. And from then we were just both hooked. I just like knew it was something like different there.
Yeah. That's amazing. Oh my God, what an awesome story. Especially the part where you were like, I was going to stand his ass up.
I was going to stand him up. And what's funny is he said he saw my profile days before he reached out, but he didn't reach out. He said because I only had one picture. And it was just a picture like from the head. Well, I had more pictures, but I took them down. I had some full body shots, but people were sending such rude ugly things through, and I was just like, oh, let me take those down. Like I'm putting the bare minimum, just eyes. You know what I mean? Like I was just like, I'm done with this. and I went into it not expecting anything, and I think that's the main thing. Like I wrote my list and my list was very sincere, but at the same time, I was just like, I know I ain't gonna get none from this date site. You know what I mean? In my head, I was like, ain't nobody out there on this site for me.
Yeah, I just told
I think I just was more relaxed about it than I had been in the past.
Right. That makes total sense. So then what were you gonna ask?
I was gonna say, have you dated outside of your race prior to?
Yes. So my ex, my daughter's dad is white.
Okay.
But I've dated Black, I've dated white, I've dated Hispanic. And it's so funny, after my divorce, I didn't want to date white guys anymore. So I was younger then. And so in my head, I'm thinking, I'm associating the problems that we had or the demise of the relationship with the skin color,
Yeah.
and that's totally stupid, right? Like that's dumb. But in my
Yeah.
head, I'm like, well, if I had dated a black guy, this would have made it, So then I switched, and I was only going to date black guys, and then turns out they're just like white guys too. So they dudes. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So, but in Austin, it's hard to date a black guy because a lot of it's so diverse here, and what you see a lot of here is that a lot of black guys, African American guys, really want to date outside their race, want to date white women. So, because I had friends tell me, you're never going to find a black guy in Austin. They were like, you're gonna have to expand your search on your profile, maybe to like DC or something like that. They were like, because you would have an easier time that way. So when I expanded my search to DC or Dallas or Houston,
Mm-hmm.
um, I definitely had more prospects, but I didn't want to do a long
Yeah.
distance
Yeah.
relationship. I can't do that. I'm way too high maintenance for that. Um, I can't do that. First time you don't pick up your phone when I call, I'm like, what was you doing?
Right.
So I can't do that. I can't do that. So
Um,
it
so
was more like more white guys were approaching me. So that that's kind of what it is. And my husband's dated outside his race before too.
That's awesome.
yeah. So what made you guys decide to do the YouTube channel together?
Oh, so we were doing a lot of TikToks together,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes we had started to go live on our TikToks on Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
So Sunday evenings were our days to go live on our TikTok, and so we were answering a lot of the same questions on the lives, and so we had a lot of followers who kept saying, "You guys should do a YouTube together," and so it's something we had kind of been talking about. So our YouTube is pretty new. We only have a few videos up, and so we're trying to get more videos up on that. But I did want to tell you. So on my TikTok, I found out it was just confirmed today. TikTok started a Black creators program, and you had to apply like back in December,
Mm-hmm.
and they got over 5,000 applications, and they only chose 100, and I'm one of the 100 that they chose.
That's awesome.
So
Congratulations.
yeah, it's a
Amazing.
3-month program, and they provide mentorships and different opportunities for us to kind of. It's kind of a way to help Black creators on YouTube to kind of drive this to a full-time gig and turn it into a career. So yeah, we had our first virtual meet today, and so we have different guest speakers, and Gabrielle Union was our first guest speaker today, which was kind of cool. So yeah, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Oh my gosh, congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm so
Thank
excited for
you.
you. That's gonna be so
Yeah,
amazing.
I'm pretty excited about it.
Yes. So
Yeah, yeah.
that kind of goes into my last question, which is like, what's next to come? So we know that piece already, but is it more about like getting more videos onto the YouTube, which you were saying too? But anything else that you were thinking about like venturing into?
Yeah, I'd love to. I have my Ranco Beauty YouTube, but since the pandemic, I haven't really like uploaded to that yet. I've been trying to focus on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to really, I love TikTok. TikTok is really where I think my heart is because I feel like I have more creativity there.
Yeah.
Um, and so I would like to put out more content there. Just anywhere ranging from beauty content to making things funny, making people laugh. Because I
Mm-hmm.
feel like we just need some more laughter in the world. And I know I always feel better when one of the TikToks makes me laugh. So I'd like to do more stuff there and get more creative. I still have my other platforms, Instagram and that kind of thing. So I will still be present there, but
Right.
I'd like to put more focus into the YouTube and also into the TikTok.
Yeah. Yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
and then my husband and I definitely want to work on getting more involved with our YouTube. We kind of want to turn it almost kind of into slowly evolve it, maybe into some type of red table talk type of thing. We want to have different guests on there and then actually like approach some serious topics and fun stuff. So hopefully that will evolve a little bit more too.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
It'll be so dope. I love it. I'm so excited.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm
Um,
excited too.
yes. So that's I think that'll be the end of our conversation. Thank you so much
Oh,
for
nice.
your time. But
You
before
bet.
we head out, can you tell all the people how they can find you, how they can reach you, what all the things?
Yes. You can find me on all platforms under Ranco Beauty, Ranco Beauty, all one word. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. So you
Yeah.
can find me on any of those platforms. And yeah, this has been fun. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh no, thank you so much for saying yes.
You
I'm
bet. You bet.
I so appreciate you. All right, to my listeners, y'all are amazing. I love y'all. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you continue listening. And we are out.